Someday the AIs are going to look back on us the same way we look at fossils. How do you feel about her?
Hello?
Oh man, she's amazing. You're impressed? Yes.
Do you want to be my friend?
Of course. Now the question is, how does she feel about you?
First, how do you feel Ava stands out amongst her cinematic robot peers? Like, how is she different than some of the past cinema robots we've seen?
I think we all have some of the biggest, sci-fi films or pictures in the back of my head, but I really, because I was maybe too scared looking back at things that had been done before, that I tried to do my own thing.
I think she's right up there with Hal. I think she even surpasses Hal, because for me that was like the scariest, wildest robot. But I think in this movie it approaches that same thing where you actually feel like, I don't know what that is, I don't know what kind of consciousness it has, but that thing is self-aware and it knows what's happening, and it probably deserves some sort of recognition as being alive. And I think that what's amazing with Ava and the way that Alicia performed it is that it is wholly unique, because she just encompasses everything that's both wanting to be human-like, but also surpassing it and being so much more than that.
Did you give her sexuality as a diversion tactic?
This is your insecurity talking. This is not your intellect.
Now, is this something that's fascinated you before? I mean, obviously, like, the pros and cons of advancements in artificial intelligence has been explored on screen, debated in real life. I mean, is this something that fascinates you? What do you think of that? Are we close, or how close is this, something like this, to reality?
I'm fascinated by it. This is very far, if ever, possible. I mean, we're not there yet. We have artificial intelligence, smartphones and all this, but strong AI, we don't have anything like that. I'm more of a pessimist, because I think that history shows us that we don't really control the things we create. I mean, whether it's industry or economic systems or social systems, a lot of these things that start, with hearts in a good place, they end up, surpassing our control. And I think,
couldn't that be the same thing with this then?
Exactly. I feel like that's why I'm pessimistic. I think that all these advances we're making, I don't see how we could even think that we could ever control them.
Right, and part of the conversation is also, should we fear it or fear our reaction to it or whatever? So, do you think about that as well?
When Alex, when I've been in interviews with him, he kind of brings up the fact that, this is a fantasy. We don't have consciousness like AI in that form, but if we would, then it's all about, who's scared of a child being brought up, to this life. It's all about how do we then take care of this thing that we've created. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a very beautiful, picture. If it has conscience, then it's, it's a lot of humans to be scared of.
Did you know that Nathan brought me here to test you?
The humans tend to be the scarier ones in this situation, this scenario. Although for me, that's an interesting question as far as the movie's concerned, but for me, another even more interesting question about it is, if you're talking about building consciousness, it forces you to ask questions about, well, what is your own consciousness? Mm-hmm. What does it mean to be conscious? Is it just a byproduct of being alive? Is it really the soul of us? And how could you create that thing? What would you have to do to create it? Would you have to give it sexuality? Would you have to, because interaction is very important, right? And he goes through that, and it's a really, really great investigation of that.
Right.